It's hard for me to understand whether the way we behave with nature changed from Beethoven time to our time. But as a human race, I can say that we've been destroying nature.
Climate change is a very hot topic.
It's on the news every day.
Yeah.
So there is awareness, but nobody is bringing about action.
And our whole systems are based on always needing more.
Somos terribles, ¿no? Somos depredadores.
Este es el momento de cambiar, es el momento de unir todas nuestras voces.
I am convinced that musicians can have a very important impact on people. They can influence people. Actually, music inspires people in so many ways. And musicians have been inspired by nature, like Beethoven, who was inspired by nature.
Beethoven is one of the great giants of music history in every sense. We know that the walks that he went on for hours and hours were the moments where he condensed his thoughts and his emotions. And the Pastoral Symphony, I think, reflects his greatest love, which is nature. The Pastoral Symphony has this unusual structure of being in 5 movements, which was very unusual in those days. 4 movements really was the symphony, and you have the opening, this gentle melody, this gorgeous melody, which is just strolling in the countryside, everything's fine. It's very interesting that Beethoven in the Pastoral Symphony, he wrote quite a lot of text describing the scenes, the scene at the stream, the storm, the birdsong. And yet at the same time, he didn't want it only just to be painting, as he said. He wanted it to be feeling, emotion. It's not just a replication of something that's beautiful. It goes inside his own soul. I do believe music has an enormous power, and I think nature has an even greater power. Projects that bring those two together are a great, great opportunity for mankind to rethink where we are and who we are. We've never been in a greater position to influence the future. And that can only happen if all of us do something, however small or however large that is. But the one option we don't have is to shut the door and to turn off the music. That's not possible.
I'm Ricky Kej. I'm a musician, I'm an environmentalist, and for the last few years I've dedicated my life to the sole purpose of creating environmental consciousness through my music. I'm very much Indian and I live in India. Hello everyone. Hello. So good to see you guys. So Pastoral is a composition which I absolutely admire and something that I've known for a very long time. Wonderful. So today we're going to have a wonderful recording. So let's get started.
Yeah. Hello sir, how are you?
I'm fine.
Somewhere in the back of my mind for many, many years, it's always been there, try to, make my own version of it or try to revere it in my own way. Simply because this would be like pretty much the mother of all, compositions when it comes to nature.
पहले फ्लूट का बैलेंस दीजिए.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you. विधि जी. थोड़ा पास आ जाइए.
So I'm an Indian. I think through Indian instruments. I express myself through Indian music. So that's why when I had to express myself through Beethoven's Pastoral, and mind you, I do not make cover versions of songs very often. In fact, it's extremely rare. But in this case, it was very, very natural for me to do it.
So, we are moving the old family piano, and we're just moving it from my garage to the musical summer house we're going to be recording in tomorrow. Boom shaka boom!
My name is Betty G. I'm an Ethiopian singer. I was born and raised in Ethiopia. Betty G is actually my stage name. My real name is Bruktayit Getahun. It's a bit long, I know. I've always wanted to be an international artist. So my mother called me Betty at home. So I took G from my last name, and then Betty G came. I try to use music to create awareness of nature, of what's happening. I use my fame whenever people see me doing something, especially the youth, because most of my listeners are the youth. They would like to imitate what I do. So I try to be a role model.
Make some noise for Betty G and the Mahari Brothers!
Bueno, nosotros somos Aterciopelados. Somos una banda colombiana que tiene una larga tradición de usar sus canciones para dar mensajes. El mensaje ambiental ha sido muy importante, antibélico también y feminista.
Fue en el disco Caribe Atómico del año 1998 que ya nos empezaron a situar como los músicos que estaban comprometidos con el ambiente y con el agua. Porque esa canción era una denuncia de lo que estaba pasando con los océanos. Y lo que se veía venir, pues que sí fue así. Caribe atómico.
No te bañes en sus aguas, tiene espumas sospechosas, solo nada el pez plutonio entre olas de acero y plata. Caribe atómico. Guardacostas advierten no hacerse a la mar. Puedes pescar de un virus tropical.
Nature has always provided a cue. Throughout musical history, we've taken our lead from the world around us. My name's Brett Dean, I'm Australian, and I'm a composer, a viola player, conductor, a musician.
As a composer, I do feel strongly linked to composers of the past. I'm incredibly inspired by what somebody like Beethoven achieved, and it sort of drives me for sure. And Beethoven possibly more than just about any other composer of the past, because his pieces have been models for me in more direct ways than many.
Beethoven is never just what you see and what you hear. There's so much more behind him. And I think the Pastoral Symphony encapsulates all of what Beethoven is. We have this second movement here. Again, very, very gentle. And here you have the scene by the stream, by the river. And there you see the mastery of Beethoven, how he's able to convey water that flows, this feeling of to and fro that you have in the piece.
I lived here in this area in the Sunshine Coast in Noosa between 2000 and 2004. But prior to that and since then, it's always been a kind of pilgrimage for myself, for my family. It's just a very, very special part of the world. In that atmosphere, I did respond by writing music, in particular a piece called Pastoral Symphony. It was just very much a celebration of what I heard and saw and felt around me by opening the windows and listening to particularly the bird life.
Pastoral Symphony is nearly 20 years old. I remember pretty early on I couldn't resist the kind of irony of the title. But it's a title that then, I have to say, captures the imagination because of its Beethoven link, I'm sure. And, you know, it's been programmed together with Beethoven's Pastoral on more than one occasion, which is, you know, wonderful. I like sharing the program with Beethoven. He's good. Composers feature birds and birdsong because it's this unbelievable world of invention. What is fascinating is how many birdsong examples are absolutely notatable, that somehow something of their vocal apparatus is very akin to the way we hear music. Beethoven's cuckoos in the slow movement of the Pastoral Symphony are not the newest of innovations at the time, but obviously also very telling. It's also the placement. Where do you put a bird call so that it has maximum effect? And, obviously he nailed that one.
And the other birds are answering, bum bum, bim bum, bum bum. This is a direct, the direct feeling of what we can hear outside. Birds singing, the happiness that's obviously installed into him. So we have here the third movement, where we really get an insight into Beethoven's humor. He dedicates to the jovial and fun people in the countryside.
This is a very beautiful area.
Really one. Yeah. Really nice one.
Hello, we are HDA,
Hello, we are at Lake Klefarvatn in Iceland. My name is Ómar Guðjónsson.
My name is Magnús Tryggvason Eliasson.
My name is Tómas Jónsson.
My name is Óskar Guðjónsson, and we are ADHD.
Many people that we play for have been here already, and they experienced this environment we have here. That's beautiful to hear if somebody hears something related to our country in our music.
Nature isn't only the rocks and the mountains and the lakes and the rivers, it's also the people in Iceland. That there is a kind of a feeling here where it's a kind of a big family, where everybody helps each other. And the first question is never how it is financially going to work. The first question is your spirit burning for doing this with me? We try to be extremely democratical in this band. Everybody can start any song at any time and play however they want to play. And in a way, feeling that you have 4 individuals that all can shape what we do with the same amount of effort, where you try to find new ways to blow some wind into this. Some people are like mountains, and some people are like rivers, and some people are like the wind.
Sí, la naturaleza tiene un lenguaje y nosotros tal vez olvidamos entenderlo, pero de alguna manera si uno tiene esa conexión lo puede recuperar y puede entender esa naturaleza y puede comunicarse con ella. Ya de por sí visitar un lugar que esté preservado, que esté más o menos virgen, como un páramo, una laguna, pues es una experiencia muy intensa porque nos conecta con la naturaleza inmediatamente, nos conecta con el silencio.
De hecho, estos últimos días que hicimos el video de Soñemos un bosque, ha sido muy hermoso. Hemos ido a lugares magníficos y como estamos uniendo esta idea de amor y de defensa hacia la naturaleza.
When I started off as a musician many years ago in 1999, when I was 19 years old, I started off doing commercials for television and radio for various brands all over the world. I was doing music for every brand and their competitor. So then I had a huge career shift in around 2013, where I started realizing that these big brands have understood the power of music, that music is such a powerful language, not just for communicating a message, but for retaining that message deep into the consciousness of a listener. It was just a realization that, that what am I doing with music? Why am I constantly selling products with music? And there are things that I feel really strongly about in this world, and I need to write music about this. India is obviously a very complicated country. We have a huge population and we have a huge number of problems when it comes to the environment, starting with air pollution, mitigating the effects of climate change. We've got deforestation, we've got species extinction, we've got the plastics problem. So we've got a lot of problems in India. But I would say that the biggest issue in India is the thought that everybody has that somebody else will make a difference. So, and that is a huge problem that we need to address. My music is all about teaching everybody about how beautiful the world is so that everybody falls in love with the natural world, and through that love, everyone will find it within themselves to conserve, to protect, and to sustain.
Everything he's spent his first three movements building up, this beauty, this idea of nature, of here we are, is suddenly broken. And it's broken in such a dramatic way that it brings us away from the painting. Somehow, Beethoven puts in a timeout. It's not just beauty, it's reality, and the reality of danger.
This is the way he set it out, and you have the double basses with their tremolo, and then the violins, and this interval that he writes here in the first violins, this G flat, it shows something's not quite right, something's happening, something's brooding.
We're toxicating ourselves and we're toxicating Mother Earth. I can sense the climate change since my childhood. The change is here. The countryside is affected with the fewer and fewer rainy season we have. So there's drought. And it's not just drought, sometimes it's a flooding. It's scary, it's really scary. It affects our daily life. It affects the food we put on the table. It affects the air we breathe. It affects the children that are going to be born. Most of the new generation have breathing allergy. Life is really tough. Life is very expensive. People have to focus on earning their life. But we have to create the awareness of nature, of what's happening. Because right now, we're heading towards the wrong direction if we don't change. We have less and less forests. If we keep at this rate, then we'll have no nature. Everything will be just concrete, and that's it. Though I understand the population is growing, of course, people need a place to stay, a shelter, but then we shouldn't forget that nature is part of our shelter.
In the time that we lived here, we saw quite a lot of change. I mean, a lot of places where we'd go walking one week and it was being cleared the next. And in the early 2000s, it had a severe rate of land clearance. I mean, it was sort of up there with the Amazon as far as, land clearance rates internationally were concerned. So at that point, something quite fundamental in the piece happens, and that is, for the first time, we hear the sound of a tree being chopped down. Somehow the piece, not only metaphorically but also orally, becomes more mechanical, it becomes more human. The bird song that we hear at the beginning then get filtered more in the studio to turn into machines. So ultimately the chainsaws and the axes move in as well, and the impact is ever increasing and quite diabolical. At the same time, it was important for me, city dweller that I have always been, to recognise there's no point also in saying that everything that man creates is by definition bad, and that only a natural world is good.
I certainly think that music and the arts also more generally can actually build a bridge between humankind and the natural world.
We can actually find a way back to nature through art because it takes us out of ourselves.
Pues nuestro país es un país muy hermoso.
Las personas están siendo conscientes de su territorio, de la riqueza de recursos naturales, de la biodiversidad que tiene Colombia, y no quieren ya que se explote más. Y los gobiernos de los últimos años no escuchan ese clamor de la gente.
Espíritus milenarios me relatan sus historias y me dan sus instrucciones y me van comunicando que ya vienen avanzando y que amor van irradiando para sanar nuestras ciudades.
Tenemos un gobierno que le da a mineras, le da como los lugares más increíbles para que haga minas. Entonces ese es un gran problema, ¿verdad? Y están ahora con lo del fracking. Están insistiendo que quieren hacer fracking, pero pienso que el mayor problema es como este neoliberalismo, ¿no? Lo que dé dinero lo vendemos.
Hace 20 o 30 años los ambientalistas pues eran muy pocos. Ahora sí hay una gran cantidad de personas y jóvenes, muchos jóvenes, preocupados por temas que tienen que ver con el medio ambiente, con la defensa de lo ancestral. Aquí en Colombia tenemos un problema muy grave con el asesinato de defensores del medio ambiente desde hace muchos años. Sabemos que es una problemática muy grande en Latinoamérica, la tenemos en Brasil, en países como Honduras, en Guatemala, y aquí también desafortunadamente son muchos los líderes que han caído, que han defendido sus territorios.
it's so terrifying that it is like a horror movie. It really is a musical offering, a counterpoint of what we feel when we experience a storm, and we all know what it's like. And there are very, very few composers, I think, that have been able to convey that feeling of fear. One is hoping the whole time, will we survive? Will we get over the storm?
Well, the vision that I have of the future is pretty dark unless we do something about it. I really think what we did to the earth is what we really have in our heart. So we have to purify ourselves, clean our heart, and then we start cleaning. And then we get to see what we have done, because I feel like nature is a reflection of ourselves. What we're doing to the planet is what we're doing to ourselves, really. A few months ago, we had this tree planting movement. I was part of it because I miss the green area. I miss green in my life. And I wanted to create awareness if I could. When we planted it, it was during our rainy season and we didn't have to water it. The weather was not this dry and hot, so it was, I think it was this tall, and now, no, it was this tall. So it kind of grew a lot. It was one full day that was dedicated for that. It was a working day, it was a Monday. Nobody was working, and everybody was planting tree everywhere. And I was really happy to be part of it, you know? Part of something green for a change. It's all new for us, but I mean, this is something we have to do. It's, like I said, the climate change is really affecting us directly, so it's a must be done.
And I believe that music can be that catalyst to move people in an emotional way from awareness to action. I perform to large numbers of audiences, like 20,000 people, 40,000 people, 100,000 people. This concert is a concert about the environment. This concert is a concert about nature. Somewhere along our journey of being humans, we have forgotten that we are not the only species on this planet. We are just one among millions and millions of species on this planet. Our next song is an anthem for a better tomorrow. Don't we want a better tomorrow? Come on! I try and empower each and every audience member to showcase to them that they themselves can make a huge difference within their own lives, and not massive difference like, eradicating poverty in one shot or, stopping deforestation everywhere in the world or whatever, but through small incremental steps within their own homes and within their own families, and then enlarge within their own communities. So that is what I do through music. And then the second thing that I do is through education of children. I created a project called My Earth Songs. Now, My Earth Songs are songs for children because I believe that the songs that we learn during our childhood are songs that we remember forever. I believe that the education system is absolutely failing us right now because from the soul, I absolutely believe that children are born with empathy, children are born with kindness, children are born with environmental consciousness within their bodies. But what we teach children is basically erasing that out of them. And we are teaching them to be more capitalist, we're teaching them to be more materialistic, we're teaching them to be more consumerist. So let's introduce ourselves. I'm Ricky, and you can tell me what your name is. Let's go from here to there. Ahana.
My name is Nandini.
Hi.
My name is Naisha.
I believe that the education system needs to change. We need to create a new generation of children, new generation of humans rather, who are more empathic, who are more kind. Now, climate change is a problem that is affecting all of us. Okay? Now, the thing is that what you have to understand is that climate change is the fault of my generation. But the problem is that you people are going to be suffering that. We are trying to do our best to change everything. We are trying to do our best to make things better for you and for your future generations. But you have to understand what climate change is and how it came about. And more importantly, children who believe that money is not the end all. You know, money is not the deciding factor as to how much you can consume and how much you can waste. But it is actually how much the planet can afford.
We can always do better with waste and consumerism and wasteful living. We can always do better. And it's great to see, I mean, our kids growing up in this environment where they actually talk about how many liters of water it takes to make one t-shirt, which you buy and then you maybe wear it for half a year and then you throw it away. We try not to waste any notes. We try to make them count. Having kids, you're aware of that we are leaving something for them which is different than what we took.
Yeah.
And we've been aware of this for a long time, but maybe not thinking about it every day like now. If we all pull what needs to be pulled, it can be done. You know, if we do it together in a way. It's maybe a cheesy way to think, but I really think that good music can put people together.
Are you, Brett, happy with the Rit? I feel that you want to do quite a lot immediately in '89.
Because it had originally been even sooner. I think it's always important not to leave out of the discussion that through human ingenuity and acquiring of knowledge, we can actually also be a force for good. Whether music can then have a larger influence and create some kind of shift, I don't know. But it is interesting how it can start conversations, and I think that's where the arts can play a significant role, because it's kind of once removed from the toxic world of politics.
La música tiene un gran poder, tiene el poder de que tú sientas algo. Así que los músicos tenemos una responsabilidad de escoger qué es lo que queremos que tú sientas.
Un fulano me gritó. chupaba, otro dijo, yo soy perro, todos tus huesos voy entierro.
Nosotros con nuestra música llevamos ya casi 30 años escribiendo canciones con temas muy específicos. Así que yo creo que sí, definitivamente hemos contribuido a que muchas personas se conecten con estas preocupaciones, a que muchas personas como que estén involucradas en ese tipo de luchas.
Cosita, cosita, cosita. 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 Cosita, cosita, cosita.
Cada vez más la gente se une, protesta. Entonces la gente que defiende el ambiente, las feministas, los indígenas, los defensores de derechos humanos, haciendo como una, ¿qué será? Como una fusión de causas, ¿no?
Pero también es evidente que debemos exigirle a los gobiernos que hagan cambios, porque las transiciones que se necesitan ya son posibles. Si nosotros como ciudadanía también estamos en la posibilidad de salir, manifestarnos y exigirle a nuestros gobiernos que hagan esos cambios.
All you have to do is just make it your lifestyle and then do new things every day and create awareness all the time. Say something. If someone is planting a tree, then be part of it. If there's anywhere, any interview, mention it so people could just hear it. And from that, they could start questioning. They can start saying, we need to work on this. We need to focus on this. What should we do? What can we do? Have a balance. Have modern in this package and then have nature on the other side, because we can't live without both worlds. So it's just we need to create the balance.
In India is this Sanskrit phrase. It's called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It means the world is one family. I believe that we need to go back to our roots, we need to go back to our culture to understand, where we come from, and to understand that we need to live in absolute coexistence and in an absolute balance with our environment, because that is the key to our survival.
I've seen how music can change people. It can incite dialogue, and I think dialogue is our only hope, really, for the future. There's something about the Pastoral, I think, when at the end of the last movement, the storm clouds have disappeared, and this beautiful melody comes, and it's a feeling everything's okay, everything's going to be okay. And I think we all hope for things to be okay. And so I think that also relates to us today.
I don't think it helps to just say, we are bad. Yeah, sure, we cause problems. Let's sort them out.
We need to empower every single person. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he had the famous saying that, be the change you want to see.
If we keep on living life the way we are living it, it's going to be the end. That's it. There's no coming back.
En algún momento hay que pensar no solo en uno mismo y y en satisfacer sus deseos, sino en el futuro y en todo el daño que estamos haciendo.
We're all in this together, and because we are together, we can survive.
Es el momento de perder el miedo, es el momento de defender la naturaleza y defender nuestros derechos.
And then you know everything's going to be fine. And yet, it's not enough for Beethoven, because he could have just left it there. But no, he has to go through cycles. He has to show us everything again in a microcosmos. And just when you think, I've understood it, he finishes the piece.